Okay, so this is a story I'm going to tell about something that happened to me years ago. I was traveling somewhere, I'm not sure where I was going, but I was in the Port Authority, which is the bus station in New York City. And if you've ever been to the Port Authority, it's not exactly the, nicest place, but high traffic, lots of people going through there. And so I seem to recall that I was wearing hiking boots and shorts and like maybe a short sleeve shirt and a backpack on my back. Not that I was going hiking, but just it comes into play a little later. But so I'm in line at this place that I don't know if they still exist, but it was called Au Bon Pain, which is kind of a bagel.
It's still there.
Yeah, a bagel place or that kind of thing. But of course, that comes from a French phrase meaning.
At the good bread.
Yeah, at the good bread or to the good bread or something like that. So I'm standing in line and it's really crowded and there are a few people behind the counter and I'm getting so that I'm like 2 or 3 people away from being at the counter. And then there's this woman in front of me, older woman, like maybe in her 50s or 60s or something, and she's ordering, but I can hear that she is speaking French to the people behind the counter, and she says, s'il vous plaît, and sorry if any French people are watching, terrible misrepresentation of French, but she's speaking French, and I don't remember exactly how, but I fairly quickly realized she's not French. She's American. But she's speaking French. And the people at the counter are like, "Excuse me, ma'am," and she would just say it again. And maybe it's because I overheard her before she said that, or maybe while they were getting someone else to come help her, I heard, but basically at a certain point she said, "Well, this is a French restaurant, isn't it?" And people like are at the counter and they're saying, "What would you like, ma'am?" And she'll say it in French again. And she's made it clear that she does speak English because she said that thing of, "Well, this is," but she said this is a French restaurant, as if it's in quotes. And what she's essentially doing is fucking with the people behind the counter, saying, "Well, if you're going to call your place this, I'm going to speak French to you." Meanwhile, there's a long line of people who are trying to make it to their buses and they just want to get a bagel and a drink and hop on board for their 7-hour bus ride. And this woman's holding up the whole line, confusing all the people behind the counter with her BS. And so at a certain point, even though I'm a few people behind her, I step up and I say to the people at the counter, "She's messing with you. She's intentionally speaking French. She's just doing that to mess with you. Don't waste your time with her," or whatever. And she turns to me and kind of looks me up and down and she goes, "Go back to the Midwest." And which, I don't know why hiking boots and shorts means I'm from the Midwest, but that was her attitude. She was from New York, and she speaks French, and she looked at me and said, "Go back to the Midwest." So she gets her food eventually, and I get mine, and I'm walking out, and she comes up and makes some snide comment to me. Some further snide comment. And in so many other situations, I probably would have just walked away and not done anything. But I was so annoyed with how narcissistic this woman was by holding up the line and just going way out of her way to give people a hard time. They're just trying to do their job. That she's waited in that long line and she just is holding her tray and she's got this big like muffin on the tray that I just put my fingers like under the little edge of the muffin and I just go boom and I fling her muffin across the room and it like rolls and bounces across the floor and she just looks at me and she kicks me in the shin really hard.
Oh my God.
But I just was like, have fun getting back in line.
This is how we do in the Midwest.
Why don't you try out your French again? See how it works for you this time. So, that's my
Holy
story about my time.
That's awesome.
Au bon pain.